So I told you we'd run through the barns real quick, get a sense of where everybody's at. Oh, I have to remember to add Dance Hall Babe to Jason, and Cruising in Style and White Tiger on their way back also. So that's cool. So we'll run through Kevin's barn quick. Kevin's had a lot of horses qualify. Had some bad luck last night. Certainly wasn't his fault. I can tell exactly what happened. First time I went on the track and Cruising with Angus made a break, I knew what had happened. It was the track. So not much. I don't know if this is crooked or not. I can't tell. Oh well. Anyway, Kevin's had a pretty good start, or will have a pretty good start to the year. American League, who I expect will do well tonight, hopefully. He's got the rail at Flamborough Downs. Art Seeker had the rail the other day, and the races were canceled at London. He's back in to go with the rail again. Drew Good. Back in to go with the rail again this coming week in London. Be My Delight. Be My Delight was a winner at first asking. Last week, she didn't get in this week. Kevin said he's going to race her back in London a week from Tuesday. Just want to go easy with this filly. Obviously, you can tell she has talent. Want to go easy with her until we get her into the Blizzard Series. We can step on the accelerator a bit once we get her in there. Better Call Mike qualified great yesterday, 2-2. I had a lot of people asking me, hey, where's Better Call Mike? Where is he? Where is he? Well, he's qualified now. Your boy's ready to go. Another 2-year-old, I guess, we had qualified in 2018, I suppose. So, that's Better Call Mike. Buckingham is jogging. They make this terrible on Sunday. Buckingham is jogging well. She'll probably begin training halfway through January, I would suspect. She was a little bit light. Though she did a lot of running out in the field in the fall. She came in a little bit light, not heavy. So Kevin's been packing the weight back on her, and she looks good now. She looks better every week. I would suspect he'll start training her mid-January, as I said. Cruising with Angus made a start last night, made a break. We'll get that rectified quickly. A little swelling on his lag tail. It looks like he might have hit himself too when he made a break. So we will err on the side of caution, probably get that checked out tomorrow. And then he'll begin to qualify soon enough. Next Saturday, I suppose. I doubt they qualify Thursday at Mohawk. They're down right now till next Saturday at Mohawk. So I would suspect we'll probably just go easy with him and qualify him next Saturday at Flamborough. Dancing at Midland, he's racing tonight at Flamborough. Been okay. 2 starts ago he raced bad, but other than that, I think he had 2 seconds and 2/3, if I'm not mistaken, in his 4 starts back. Expecting him to jump up one of these days. There was no cakewalk last week. They went in 56 or 57, but I would expect him to do a little better in the future. Dancing on My Own, unfortunately, our first lifetime start, marred with a break. You're only supposed to stop at yellow lights if it's safe to do so. You just dropped everything on the floor and near ejected the children through the front windshield.
If the car wasn't so messy, it would have happened.
I'm just saying, a little roll through would have been okay, but I'm not a cop. Dancing on My Own, she'll qualify next week. No concerns there. Her at 8, jogging again, probably in the same trajectory as Buckingham. She'll start training midway through January. Holding Steady, he raced the other day. Little flat on that sticky track at Mohawk, but I suspect with a little clash relief at London or Flamborough next week, you'll see a much different, much better Holding Steady race. If I Knew Susie, she was going to race the other night, had the races canceled, as did the next 2, Candy Mac and Majesty Boy. All 3 of them are back in to go this coming week at London. Master Saver, he won at first offering. No land speed records, as I said, set on the end of it. 31-4 on the end of it, but I used him up pretty hard, and it was his first start back off a long layoff. Master Saver, showing a little bit of grit. You know what? It doesn't say how fast the last quarter was on the check, and Master Saver likes his work. Did very well. I don't think we're going to be heading to the Elite Lot with him this year, but he tries hard, and I like horses that try hard. Last but not least, my boy Road Tripper made a little break leaving last night. I said it to Kevin after race 1. We hadn't even raced our 3rd horse yet, and I said, Kevin, what about Road Tripper? We're going to have some problems here tonight. And we did. He run leaving. He's got flip-flops on and just the opposite footwear you need for that racetrack. And a little frustrating, but that happens. We'll get Road Tripper requalified again this week. So that's Kevin's barn. Virtually everything is racing or getting close to racing, except for the 2 fillies, Buckingham and Her at 8. They'll begin training. Yeah, we'll go to this gas station here. We'll begin training middle of this month. So that's Kevin's barn. We'll be right back with Harry's barn and Jason's barn in just a minute. Okay, we're on Harry's barn. Run through now. Somebody's gonna say, "Oh, you didn't talk about cruising." Cruising in style is coming back also. He's obviously going to Kevin's barn. Kevin trained him for the Canadian Trotting Classic elimination before we sent him down to New York. Did a very good job with him. You know, I felt bad. A couple of horses that come back didn't go back to Kevin, but this horse, there's no reason not to send him back. Kevin does a great job. I know there was some skepticism. Kevin has his way of training, and we hired him for that way. He's a professional trainer. I've said it a million times over. We're going to slowly trickle down as our horses get better and better. But you can see now what we're trying to build, right? You guys can see the better horses being kept, the what we might deem inferior horses being moved along, and what we're left with is something very, very strong, something to really take note of. Obviously, you know, but I mean from people in the industry. Everybody wants to build something now, and it takes time. And what we're building is an extremely strong barn, and Kevin McMaster plays an integral part of that, as does Jason and Harry and everybody else that we do business with. So we're going to go on to, as I said, cruising in style, coming back, going to Kevin's barn. Him and White Tiger are coming back on the next load within the next 3 days. On to Harry's barn. We're going to start with Autumn Wings. Harry trained her again the other day. As I said in my last video, he asked me till mid-January. So between the 1st and the 15th of January, we'll be schooling and qualifying Autumn Wings, hoping for some daylight there. You know, we had a lot of hopes for her, but it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to protect these horses any longer. We've put all the work in we can. We're here now, and if they don't pan out, they don't pan out. But I have every reason to believe that the time off helped Autumn Wings. Harry has told me she is not on a line. She is not rough in the turn. So steady as she goes, as they say. Autumn Wings will be ready to go middle of January. My girl Bay Jewel is back. Now, Bay Jewel is down with me in Shed Row 6 until Harry has a stall free up. Kevin, Harry, and Jason are all full. So any of the horses that weren't sold are kind of down with me right now as they start to train back, and once the stall opens up, we'll move them down there accordingly. So Bay Jewel, technically Harry has this filly, but she's with me right now. There's no rush. She's not going to be ready for another few weeks, and during that time, she'll be going back to Harry. So Bay Jewel is back going. She'll begin training this week. Fan the Flames. He actually, as you can imagine, we didn't want to race him at London or Flamborough, so he took the time off, as Mohawk did. He'll be back probably next Saturday, I would suspect, Saturday, Monday. Final Answer's going to begin training first of the year. We had him checked out, as I said before. No serious concerns. They looked him all over. His knees were suspect, as you can imagine. Maybe you can't imagine because you don't know, but Yankee Glides are habitual. They have issues with their knees all the time, so we know that when we buy them. All these horses, you'll see issues with a lot of them. Angus Halls are hot. The Charmbros are banned because they interfere a lot, but the Yankee Glides are tough, durable race horses, and they make great horses, and you do have to take care of their knees. So we're well aware of that. Not a big deal. There's nothing where it's like, okay, his knees are bad and they're only going to get worse. No. They're bad and they're manageable. They're not. A 7-year-old with bad knees has bad knees. A 3-year-old with bad knees, usually manageable, and that's where we're at with our boy, Final Answer. Then we've Just a Tad. Just a Tad, Harry told me. This is, again, the Just a Tad update will be for Greg Schoner only, because him and I are the only two people that own him. He's now recovered from the abscess he had up in his, up near his abdomen from the castration. Harry says he is over on the left shaft a bit. We may have to take those chips out of his right hind ankle, which would be awesome. I really hope this horse pans out, because he's turned into a bit of a money pit. But I just have to go back and look at the videos of the horse training down at 2 and say, he's in there. We just have to get him out. And obviously, if he has an OCD in his ankle that's bothering him, it's probably best we take it out. So we'll see. I am going to train him down, unless he can't train. He's just said he's coasting over on the shaft a bit. We'll train him down to almost qualifying speed and then take it out. Some people might say, well, why wouldn't you take it out now? Because you can only lose so much time, right? He was off because of the infection, and then we were jogging him. Now if we stop with him again, all that training muscle and close to racing muscle we had in him way back when, all that's gone. Everything's gone. You got to start over. So I would rather train him back down to almost qualifying and say, okay, now's the time. Take that chip out, 3-4 weeks in the stall, start him back up. So that's probably the plan with just a tad, although we are in a holding pattern with him right now. We will begin training him first part of January, get him down closer to the races, and then if we decide to take the chip out it comes. Lima's son made a little break qualifying yesterday. Truth be known, so here's how it happened. Now, Jason McGinnis is going to tell you a different story. And again, I appreciate the fact Jason McGinnis isn't really a driver. He can drive, and he's won races, and he's competent. He knows what he's doing out there, but he's not really a driver. And he'll tell you that. Listen, I'm not much of a driver anymore, maybe, depending on who you ask. But Jason, I had to go with Curious Winner for obvious reasons. He was making breaks. I wanted to get him around. Lima's son has been training great with Harry. No issues. Now we did take the hobbles off of Lima's son. Went to qualify him. I said to Jason, give him room in the turn, so stay out a little wide. So he made a break at the 5/8, and he goes, I just got in a bit. I said, you know where I was with Curious Winner, out a little bit wide, and you were to the inside of me? That's where you should have been with Lima's son. So Lima just put a step in and rolled off. Not a big deal. We got a little work into him. We'll probably school him. We'll wait now, qualify him at Mohawk. I'd like to qualify him in 2 minutes. And then if his leg looks as good as it seems like it is, we're going to aim for a little Mohawk racing for our old buddy Lima's son. He's ready to go. Lincoln James coming off a red-hot win at Flamborough Downs, a gutty win. I moved him hard to the front. And just hung on in 154.1, I believe, with Lincoln James. An incredibly good mile. It was cold that night. He raced great. And again, we've talked to our clients. He's only racing 3 times a month. And coming off a win's a great time to give him a rest. He will be razor sharp in his next outing. Linnea, we're going to school her this week coming up. Had a little hiccup with getting sick. She wasn't sick like she was in the summer. There's no mucus, just an elevated white count. We're working on that. We want to make sure we get it right with this filly, because when she starts racing, that's it. She's going to start racing. If she's not comfortable, if she's not aggressive and consistent when we start her back, then she's going to find herself into some lower classes, and that's just how it has to be. We have to have consistency in the barn from every horse, and if that means that if the horses are only going to put out 80%, then we're going to put them in with horses they can beat at 80%. And we'll see. Linnea is going to write her own chapter here in the coming weeks. Maintenance Man has begun training. He will be back probably mid-March, I think. Want to get a couple of starts in him before the stake races start. See where he fits. He looks great. Sharp on the track. Looks like $1 million. Maxwell Plum, very similar to Autumn Wings. He'll be ready to go. I know I've been telling you all 2 weeks. Harry's doing the best he can to get him ready, but get him ready right. And I know we had a client there the other day that was asking Harry about Maxwell Plum. Is he ready to go? Harry knows what he's doing. He pushed and pushed and pushed, backed off for a week, and then Max hit his knee or something jogging in. Just a little tiny inflammation, nothing serious. But it cost him that training trip that week. So instead of going 2 trips, he went 1 trip. He'll be ready to go in another, I don't want to say 2 weeks. I'm going to say 10 days. Maxwell Plum will be ready to go. Ready for the beach. What about the big beach finishing second? I thought Harry was joking with me when he said, hey, I want to put him in at Mohawk. I thought he was joking, but he finished second. I mean, it's not. There aren't any tigers in there in that maiden right now, but hey, a second at Mohawk's a second at Mohawk, and ready for the beach race. Good. Came from 9th at the half to end up second. So ready for the beach raced well his first time out after his break as a 2-year-old. Screaming Hawk. Harry said, we can probably put him in the bike soon. I said, no, I don't want him in the bike soon. Take your time with this colt. I know there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, no, put him in the bike. I want to take my time with Screaming Hawk. He's growing. You should see I still got a little cold. He's growing. He's looking like a nice horse. I'm going to take my time with this horse. And I told Harry, take all the time you want. You got till March. No rush. So, Screaming Hawk will be training. Continue. I told him to train him at 1.5 mile speed, though. And that's how we trained all our 2-year-olds down. This guy, at the 1.5 mile, when they know they're going 1.5 miles, they're a little less hyper. If you get them into that mentality where I'm going 3 laps, they're less likely to be wide open the first one. In the Angus halls, he does hear his father's voice sometimes, and it creates a problem with Screaming Hawk, where he gets a little hot. He's done that before, but usually pretty mild-mannered, pretty tempered. We want to keep him that way, so I just told him to keep him at 1.5 miles is probably the best thing for him. Sunshine's finest, same trajectory again as Autumn Wing. She'll be ready to go in about 15 days. The Butler did it's beginning to train, looking better now. We were a little concerned with his knees, had them x-rayed, they're fine. His feet were a little suspect. We changed his footwear. Now, because he was loading weight on his back end, he was getting a little sore over his back and his lower hocks. Harry had to back off with him a little bit, train him 1.5 miles a little bit slower. You can see him start to get a little sounder on those hocks behind and not as sore on his back. That means we're in the right direction with his front feet. That means we have the right footwear on him where he can load the proper amount of pressure on his front end. He doesn't have to offset it behind. Hope that's not too difficult to follow. It's pretty simple. As horses get sore up front, they have to take that weight off of their front end. You have a sore foot, you put more weight on the opposite side. It's the same with horses, and that extra weight, if they can't sustain that, creates problems, and that's where injuries come from. So the Butler did it. Looks comfortable now, and he's been training for a few weeks. We're going to continue to forwardly push him through his training. I would say 6 weeks, maybe. Probably wouldn't say a month. I would say 6 weeks, and we're going to have something concrete from the Butler did it. Too Far Gone's ready to go now. I'm probably going to qualify her next week. Yes, that's Cherry's. It's Ava's favorite horse. She's ready to go next week. Warrawee Ultra's begun her training. She really grew up. She sprouted up. She's much taller than she was last year. And my boy, White Tiger's on his way back. I know I didn't mention Cruising with Style, Kevin. It just dawned on me when I'd said Cruising with Style. I turned over the sheet and saw the names, and White Tiger's coming back to Harry. Cruising with Style is coming back to Kevin. They will be on their way back very, very soon. So that's Harry's barn. We'll be back in a second. We'll run through Jason's barn every bit as quick and get the barns cleaned up, and then it'll be on to the babies. Trying to keep this video short for you this week. Well, Granny, and Ollie's out cold. My God, he's a good shipper, this kid. And maybe we trained him all summer when we were driving all over the world. You drive for a long enough distance, he just completely shuts off. He's out cold. And my girl Ava is in the back also. So we got Jason's barn here. We're going to get through Jason's barn. A lot of horses qualified, ready to go, coming back. A lot going on with the barns. As I said, in the new year we'll have over 30 horses racing. So Jason's barn will start with Arvika. Arvika's back training now. She'll probably be ready to go in a couple of weeks, I would suspect. Very similar to Harry's trajectory with Autumn Wings and a few more of his in there. Arvika's on the same path, I believe. Boston Glide raced really well in that kind of a sticky track, and he raced really well, that horse. Finished third on Boxing Day at Mohawk. Raced very, very well. Casanova's Jewel looks really, really good coming back. Jason's got him on a 1.5 mile schedule, and he looks dynamite. Really, really happy with the way this colt has looked over the last month. I've been out in the track a few times when I've seen him train, and he looks really good. Canale Hanover really let me down last night. He might have hit himself, he might have done a lot of things, but there's no reason to make a break where he did, and it shows a little bit of cowardice, to be honest, when horses make breaks in those positions. And that's not like him. This horse was just a killer at 2. Just lost his way at 3, and I'm gonna chalk it up to a lack of confidence. There was no need for him to break where he did, and we're going to requalify him. We're going to add some knee boots. I don't see any marks on his knees, but for him to run where he did, he hit somewhere. He touched somewhere, and there's no blood, there's no swelling, there's no marks, but it bit him. And if you go back and look 2 weeks ago at Flamborough, coming to the half when he made that break, the exact same place is where he made that break. So we are going to add some knee boots, put a little vet wrap underneath his boots behind, see if we can cover him up a little bit more, and get him in where he's comfortable. I want this horse winning. So if that means we got to put him in a 15 claimer, non-winner's a 50, then that's what we'll do. But I want this colt back in winning ways, and he should be right now. He felt great last night in the post parade. He felt great. A little grabby. I said to Jason, we got to get that snake bit back on him. And that's how he was at 2. He wore that snake cord his whole life. When he was second in that track record in Philadelphia, he had the snake cord on, and he needs it back on. He just gets too aggressive, and it has to take away from his end game. So we'll get that snake cord back on him, change some gear, get him requalified, and get him back in to go. I know it's frustrating. I don't own him. You guys own him. The people that are watching this waiting for me to talk about him. I understand you're frustrated, and I'd be frustrated too, but we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll get him in where he can do some damage here in the next few weeks. Curious Winner, although he's qualified, it wasn't a fantastic qualifier. bit of an embarrassment. 2.7-4, 34 on the end of it and off track. But I knew exactly what happened when I come off the track. I said, too much weight, hobbles are too tight. We got him qualified. So we'll work on tinkering with his gear to have it not too loose, but not too tight, almost like the Three Bears. We don't want it too tight or too loose. He needs his gear and his shoeing just right. And then I think, you know, the horse we raced in Ohio those first couple of starts last year, I think could have done some damage at this time of the year. So if we can get him back to where he was then, I think we'll be just fine with Curious Winner. Dance Hall Babe arrived back yesterday. Looks great, my girl. Obviously, she took American 158 and looked fantastic. This is a filly I paid into everything last year. And then she got a little bit sick, fell a little bit apart, but then came out swinging at the end of the year, and she won the Harvest Series. It wasn't a breathtaking mile or race, but she got all the money and looked good doing it. So happy to see Dance Hall Babe back with us. Delcrest Star Angel's out for another 5-6 weeks. She's a giant now. I just want to give her lots of time to grow up. She's a really, really nice filly and deserves the time to grow up. Happy holidays. One of the only shining stars last night, her and Stonebridge Loyal in our horrible day of racing, was Happy Holidays. Finished second in the preferred 3. Stonebridge Loyal finished 3rd. We'll talk about her in a minute, but Happy Holidays raced well. I think we can make a tiny change with her. I'm going to put the gate strap back on the outside. She always runs out the straightaways. It causes a problem. She never used to like the gate strap, but we're going to try it back a little loose on the outside, see if we can keep her straight in the straightaways, maybe do those lower hawks, free her up a little bit, and get her back in next week. She's right there. She's close to winning, and she's not the Happy Holiday she was when she took her America 54 at Flamborough, but she's close to getting really good. I'm going to say she's 80% of that filly, which is just fine. You know, she's 1-2. She finishes 1-2-3 in the preferreds 2 and 3 all year. She'll bang out good money all year for us, and she wants to be a horse. She went from being really crotchety and standoffish when we first got her to being pretty good to deal with now. She just turned out to be a nice mare. She was a horse we talked about breeding. I don't know enough about, we're going this way, Mom. I don't know enough about breeding to say yay or nay on the breeding of her, but you know, if she keeps racing like this, we won't be talking about it. It's always on the table though. So Happy Holidays, raced well, continues to race well, really happy with her. Ivanka, training back now, should be ready to go probably end of February, 1st of March. Should be ready to start going, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe. I haven't talked to Jason about if he started training her or not. I'll be talking to him this week, but I've seen her on the track jogging. She is big. She got to be a big girl, and she looks really, really good. A horse that is not racing good right now is Gelona. Gelona was piss poor last start. She was poorer last start at Flamborough. I missed the gate a little bit with her, but we had loosened her hobbles up a little bit because they burnt her under her belly. So we loosened her hobbles up a little bit, and I thought they were a little too loose. So I was trying to time the gate in with her. I didn't want to get her up on top of the gate and jam her up, and then she'd make a break. So Gelona can lead like a thoroughbred. I'm not in any concern. I'm coming up to the gate. I can't even catch the gate. I end up missing it by 2 lengths, which was embarrassing for me as a driver. But for Gelona, a little embarrassing for her too, that she didn't have that step. So she's in to go tonight, drew the outside. I really don't know what to expect. I hope she races well, but we will see. You know, 3 starts ago she was very good. 4 starts ago she was awesome. So I expect somewhere in there. Maybe she's horsing a little bit. Maybe she's a little bit sick. It's going around. So we will see how Gelona is tonight. Oh, so Pine's back going. Looks great. My God, that colt grew it. Filled out. He looks really, really good. Really happy with him. Mystical Mission made a little bit of a break last week, but I think we know what's going on there. We're going to change a little equipment with this guy and see if we can get him straighter and trotting perfect. He's knocking on the door. He's right there. He's ready to make his way to the winner's circle soon, I believe. Not an Angel, much like Ivanka. Training down, trying to get her ready to go. She'll be ready to go soon enough. And my God, you're a destructive driver. We'll have her ready to go soon enough, probably again mid to end February, start of March for Not an Angel. Who else do we got here? Pay the Line Blue Chip, 2 in a row for my big girl. We're gonna keep putting her in where she can win. She didn't get a favorable vet report when we stopped with her. There was some concerns with her sesamoids, and she's so tough. You know, she just went out and obliterated him again the other day. I told Jason every 8, 9, 10 days for this filly, nowhere inside of there. Yeah, we're gonna, next exit is us.
Yeah. Gonna get over.
Anybody ever see that GIF or the clip from Family Guy with the Chinese ladies merging on the highway? It's much like how my mother just drove. Right now, there's 37 car lengths between the car in front of us and us. Hey, it was safe. Nobody's gonna get injured. They'd probably get flipped off from behind, but no problems at all. So anyway, where are we at? Pay the line blue chip. She'll probably continue her winning ways until somebody claims her. I'm not taking her out of that class until somebody files an injunction or claims her. So it'll be good for her. It's a nice easy stroll for her, but at the same time, I'm not putting her in harm's way. Again, you want to keep a horse that's a little suspect. We're taking this one here. A little suspect sound. Just put them in where they can beat up on horses. She only is at 85%, 90% when she wins, and that's all she has to be. So, pay the line blue chip. She'll be right back in to go soon enough. See You in Tuscany is looking great. Colt looks good. Come back. He looks good on the track. Haven't near started training him yet. Probably start training him mid-January to the end of January. I want to make sure we keep this colt healthy all the way through this year. Right from January, right through to the end of his training sessions and schooling and racing. Want to make sure we have 100% and 100% healthy. See You in Tuscany. Stolen Dance is going to be having some time off. I'm just negotiating with my partners right now if we're going to breed her or not. I'm interested in, I'm interested in breeding her quite a bit, but some of them are not. I own a sizable chunk of this filly, and as I said, I'm not a breeder, but I'm not against breeding. I see a filly that wants to work so hard and is so well bred. How can't you want to breed a horse like that? So Stolen Dance is going to need some time off, and if we race her, we race her. I'm leaning towards breeding her, but we'll see what happens. Stonebridge Simba. He come back. Simba, he's just jogging. Obviously, he's only been back a little while. He'll be ready to go mid-March again, same as the rest of the other horses when we get training them down. Stonebridge Loyal, 2 wins and a third. She got 2 wins, a second and a third in her 4 lifetime starts. Pretty hard not to like that. And Stonebridge Loyal, she's a type horse, pretty hard not to like her. Track was deep last night. She's flip-flops on. Get driven a little hard. I think she'll bounce back just fine. Her and a bunch of other horses we have are paid into the Blizzard Series, so we'll see how that ends up. Twinsburg sprouted up like a bad weed in her time off. There's a hospital there, but we're going to the restaurant just down here first. Twinsburg looks huge filly, and she will be ready to go same time as the other Ohio horses. Really interested to see how this filly, there's Gail, their 5-point breaking again. Ooh, this one was better. We didn't lock any of the tires up this time.
You got your seatbelt on?
Yeah, I got my seatbelt on.
Kids got theirs on?
Yes.
Okay.
Twinsburg is going to be ready to go. This is a horse I'm really interested to see. And obviously the last 2 horses we're about to talk about, I'm very interested to see how they'll come back. West 52nd and Yes. I say them together because they're both in the same boat. They both ended off the year great. I know that Yes got a kind of a crappy trip in the final of the Ohio Sires, but let's be honest, he had a fantastic year. And West 52nd went out with a bang, obliterating the field in the consolation of the Ohio Sires, and look tremendous. Both these horses, I can't wait to see how they train down, how they get ready, how they race, and how they will be in 2019. So that's it. That's Jason's barn. That's everybody. Only horse left to come in now. Well, Springbridge Proud, everybody asked me about him. I've sent out a couple messages to Ronnie Burke, and I'll get a hold of him soon enough. We'll have a good discussion about Springbridge Proud, and Lawmaker's going to be out till mid-February at the earliest. So that's it. That's all the barns. I'll be back in a minute. We'll talk to you about all the babies, what I thought about them, what I liked about them. There wasn't a whole lot not to like. It was a fantastic day under the drone last week. Be back in just a minute.